This is a 1911 Excelsior Auto Cycle board track racer replica that I built out of a $75 Walmart cruiser frame and one of those cheap two-stroke motorized bicycle engine kits that you can get off eBay or Amazon. I figured I'd try something different with this build series and show the finished product right off the bat instead of having to make you wait 3 or 4 weeks down the road to see how the thing turned out. Unfortunately, I don't have any video of when I first started in on this thing, but here's a picture of it when I first got it home from Walmart. And here it is after I got a old school truss rod fork mounted on the front and the engine mocked up in the frame and a few other doodads on it. Now let's get to work designing a gas tank. I'm going to start by tracing out the design on a big chunk of dry foam. After the general shape is sketched out, I rough cut it with an electric bread knife. Now that we have the foam kind of in the ballpark of where I want it to look, I do a little fine tuning with a rasp and some sanding block and whittle it down to size. Yeah, that's nice. So now that I have everything the shape I want, I cover it in 100% silicone caulk so the fiberglass resin won't stick to the foam. And after the silicone has had a chance to dry overnight, I slop on a couple layers of fiberglass. And then, after the fiberglass is set up, I scuff it up really good with some heavy-duty sandpaper, and I lay down a thick coat of fiberglass body filler. Jeez, holy crap, Tiger, calm down. What I'm doing here is cutting up some sheet metal to build a gas tank that's going to go inside the fiberglass shell we made in the last segment. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm not the best sheet metal worker right now, and I guess you kind of noticed that by the jigsaw work earlier. And since I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing, I decided to wire weld this sucker together. What could go wrong? I mean, it's not like it's going to have like 10 or 20 leaks when I'm done. Or is it? I welded a few nuts onto the bottom of the metal tank, and I'll be using those as bungs to mount the pretty fiberglass tank over my monstrosity. Now that the long strand body filler has dried up, I'm going to rough it up and slop on a thick coat of short strand filler to fill in some of these deep crevices. And after the short strand filler set up, I sanded it as smooth as I could get, and I'm laying down a final coat of lightweight body filler. Now we're getting somewhere. After a little block sanding, this thing should be ready for primer. Now that the first coat of primer is dry and has been sanded, let's crack this sucker open, give it one more coat of primer, and it should be ready for paint. Hey, if you like what you're seeing here, please subscribe to the channel and be sure to click the notification bell so you'll know when I post new videos. Or follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or my website, BigfootBikesandBrews.com for some exclusive sneak peeks of what I'm working on for future videos. I'm busy restoring a bunch of vintage bikes as well as working on some sweet custom builds that I want to share with you. I'm going to try to get a new video out the door early in the morning every week, so be sure to click that notification bell and have your phone ready in the morning, so you'll have something to do while you poop. While the primer is setting up, I'm going to grab the torch and learn how to do a little brazing. This is going to be a little cable guide for the front drum brake. And we'll add another guide to the frame for the clutch cable running down to the two-stroke motor. Yeah, this is going to look nice. It should keep the cables really nice and tidy. And now we're going to move on and tap a hole in the fork and grab some rod and build a headlight mounting bracket. Geez, calm down there, sport. You're going to break that tap off in the hole and then you're going to have a really bad day. I'm going to heat up this bolt with a torch, give it a nice little bend, mount it back onto the fork, and that should make a really nice and visible, slick-looking headlight mounting bracket. There, that turned out pretty slick. Now I'm just tapping a couple holes where I'll bolt the headlight to. Now on to welding on a little drum brake stop onto the bottom of the fork, and this thing's getting really close to completion. I'm going to weld this little chain tensioner to the chain stay, and we should be done with welding for a while. Now that the polyester filler primer is set up, I'm going to go over the tank with some 400 grit sandpaper, do a little block sanding, and it should be ready for paint. There, things turned out really nice. All the hard work paid off, and I'm really happy with how everything turned out. Now I'm moving on with some vinyl pinstripe, and I'm masking out a tape line so I can paint the side of the gas tank red. There we go. That's a nice bright red. Now I just need to remove the masking tape and do a little pinstriping between the white and the red. In the meantime, if you want to go on Google and search for Excelsior Auto Cycle board track racer, you can kind of get a look at a real bike to see what I'm using as inspiration on this build. Thanks for sticking around, everybody. Next week, we're going to grab the gold leaf vinyl and make some decals, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that fun. Alright, I hope you liked this episode of Bigfoot Bikes and Brews. Click on one of the videos here if you want to see some more, and please click on the Bigfoot button to subscribe to the channel and join in on the fun. See you next week.